There are many ways to approach the value of an image, and my question to you is, how much would you pay for this photograph? Whether you're a photographer or photography buyer, the value of an image depends on a number of factors. And that's why I'm going to show you a number of images and talk about their value based on the needs of the client. I'm going to show you a series of different types of images. And the first one is a food shot. And this food shot is pretty basic. It was styled a little bit and it was for a local client. And that client paid about $300 for that image. Now the thing is, they had multiple shots during that day. They also are a local client. They're not going to use the photograph much beyond the Metro Detroit area. This is relatively normal in the Metro Detroit area. However, there are people who would bid $50 and there are people who would bid $1,000 or $2,000 for that same shot. And there are clients who would pay those prices. Again, it's based on usage or location. It's not uncommon for me to charge $1,000 for an image, but that would be more for maybe regional or national usage. I've charged as much as $2,000 and $3,000 per image with multiple images shot during the day. In this situation, it truly comes down to how much production, which was not really high production, and the use of the photograph. And the value of that image at about $300 for the client is certainly feasible because they will make multiple times that by using that image to sell their product. Now this next image is a portrait. It's of Maddie Maroon, and there are not very many images or portraits of Maddie Maroon. And I took a series of them during an interview for a media outlet. So I was not paid that much for the photographs in the first place. However, I made sure that I kept copyright for the images. In other words, I still own the images. And because I kept the copyright, I was able to resell these images to other media outlets. I've even sold these images to people creating documentaries on him and his enterprise. I've sold these images all over the world. And in return, I've made thousands of dollars because I didn't just give my rights away. I had a situation years ago when my phones and my email were just blowing up from news outlets all over the place looking for a photograph that I had taken. Now, they all had access to the photograph because I photographed for this publication or this group of publications. And the thing is, I still own the copyright. And there was big news in town, and I had the only image of one of the people that was in the story. And they had to wait for me to give permission. That gave me leverage. And that gave me the opportunity to get my name really out there because I controlled and kept my copyright. The thing is, rarity is important, and rarity can help you increase the value of your photographs. I was able to name my price and negotiate my price because I saved my images and I organize my images. I archive my images. I know where to get specific images, and I keep the copyrights as often as I can because I know there can be value in my images down the road. You never know when there's going to be a situation that you could use an image or resell an image. So the thing is, if somebody doesn't need to resell your photographs, there really is no reason for them to have the copyright. Now this next shot is a relatively common product shot, especially in the Metro Detroit area, kind of a manufacturing product shot, used in brochures and sell sheets, mostly locally, but they want us to take a lot of photographs. So in this situation, photographing on white, a very basic production level, well, it was $75 per image. And of course, we take 20, 30 of these images per day. Now, just because you can take 20 or 30 images per day doesn't mean it needs to be a low price. If this was a big international campaign, those prices would be much higher. Again, it's important to understand what your cost of doing business is. For example, I wouldn't have just taken one of these pictures for $75. The fact is there were a larger number of images for us to create, and so we were able to create a volume discount because they needed so many shots. So how much somebody will pay for an image has a lot to do with the value of that image to them. There are many factors, such as how will that image be used? Is someone going to put the picture on their wall, or are they going to make money with the photograph? What is the rarity of that photograph? Can they find another option? It could be your brand or reputation. Is it a big deal that you are taking the photograph? The fact is, some of you are saying, wow, I can't believe he charged that much for a photograph, thousands of dollars for a photograph, while others are looking at some of my examples and saying, how dare he only charge that much? The fact is, it depends on where you live, it depends on the client, it depends on the circumstance, and there is no one correct answer. Now, how about that photograph I had in my hands just a few moments ago? Well, that photograph is right here. It's a picture I took in the early 90s of some friends of mine playing in their band. I actually followed that band all the way to New York to watch them play at CBGB's, and I have great memories. It's one of my favorite photographs that I took of bands in the 90s. And the thing is, I wasn't paid a dime to create it. However, it is priceless to me. Hey, I have a question for you. What do you think about pricing photography? I look forward to reading your comments below. And of course, if you found this video valuable, make sure you like it and share it with your friends, especially in your social media. And of course, if you don't want to miss a future upload, be sure to subscribe.